What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ram Laramie Motorsports. My name is Steve Fast. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Today we are in the shop for a little bit, but we are going up to the house where we have the Ram parked because I just did a little bit of a wash on it, and our road going to the shop is a little bit muddy, and it's all gonna make sense when I show you the mod that we're putting on the new truck. So there is something that you guys definitely, if you drive on any kind of wet, muddy roads, are gonna want for your 2019 Ram, and we are gonna be doing that today. But first, we're just gonna do a quick little shop update. We have the Camaro behind me. If you guys are new to the channel, this is my 2017 Camaro SS. It has a Vortex supercharger and a ton of other mod goodies in it, as well as suspension, wheels. We have a wing on the back. We've got all kinds of stuff. So if you guys are interested in more content on this car, definitely stay tuned to the channel, because we will be doing more with this car coming up this season, as well as some drag racing. We're also going to Power Tour and all that kind of good stuff, so definitely stay tuned for that. We do have the mezzanine on the Dream Shop build. We are definitely making progress here. We're finishing up some of the electrical upstairs right now and trying to get all the lighting and everything in so we can get our electrical inspection and start finishing this thing up. And also down here, I don't know if I've showed this on a video just yet. I think I did it on Instagram only, but we do have lights underneath the mezzanine. Now, this is absolutely a great place to work at night. Everything is bright, there's no shadows, nothing like that. So definitely a awesome improvement, and we will be sheeting the upper part of this mezzanine as well, putting some insulation for the floor for upstairs. But definitely very, very excited to have lighting under here, and it's just starting to come along, and as things get plugged in, I'm getting more and more excited for this shop build. So now that you guys are all up to speed on what's going on in the shop, let's head up to the 2019 Ram up at the house, and let's get our install started. So here we have our 2019 Ram Laramie Sport, and it is a black truck, so things getting dirty is kind of just par for the course with a vehicle like this. And one thing that I have noticed after 2,000 miles of driving this truck is this area right here and right behind the rear tire gets full of mud very, very easily. Now, it does have a little bit of a plastic lip here that doesn't seem to do a whole lot with the 22-inch wheel. When I go down to the shop, as you can see, it does have a little spot that retains a little bit of water. So in search of a solution for the problem of getting mud all over the side of the truck, I was at the Dodge dealership getting some touch-up paint anyway, and they did have some mud guards in stock, so I picked up the Mopar ones. With my dealer discount, it pretty much was the same price, or maybe even a little cheaper than aftermarket. So we did go with OEM, so let's get these unboxed and see what we got to do to install them. So as every unboxing needs is a good knife, and we have one right here, just big enough for the job. All right, we are going to start with our front splash guards, and as you can see, tools required is a rivet gun, a ratchet and an 8mm, a torque wrench, a trim tool, a 1/4-inch drill bit, and a drill. So we do have some plastic rivets here, so these are not a no drill. I guess you do have 4 holes to drill, 4 plastic rivets to install, and the rest is just going to be our factory hardware that we're going to remove. So let's go over to the front and get those bolts removed, and we're going to collect some more tools, and we're ready to put these on. All right, we have our drill, our 1/4-inch bit, we have our rivet gun. Anybody from Canada probably knows where I got this. We have our torque wrench as well in inch-pounds. Let's get our factory bolts removed. And now, using our fancy little trim tool from Amazon, we'll have a link in the description for this. We're going to take out our little trim pin. All you do is get it underneath, and then you just press it kind of like a plier. Pops it right out. Very simple, very easy. No prying and accidentally scratching your flare or anything like that. This tool is absolutely amazing and pretty inexpensive. Next, we're going to take one of our supplied alcohol pads, and we're just going to kind of de-grease, de-oil anything that might be on your fender flare. These are the smallest alcohol pads I think I've ever seen, but should do the trick. This is just to make sure that you have a good surface for your 2-sided tape. All right, I think we're ready for our new mud guard. So now after mocking up our new splash guard, I noticed that the tape actually is on the back part of the flare. And I don't think I did a really good job of cleaning that area with our tiny little alcohol pad. So I have some of this isopropyl alcohol that I keep around that I got from the grocery store. It's very cheap, easy stuff to get a hold of. Put some of that on a rag and you can do just as good of a job. All right, now that we're all prepped up and ready to go properly this time, we can start some of our bolts and get ready to do our rivets. Get our splash guard in place. We're gonna leave the protective film on for now. Get these bolts started just snug because we are gonna torque these afterwards. So I do pride myself in having many tools for many different jobs, but unfortunately the plastic rivet does not work with my rivet gun. So what we're gonna do is do a little bit of improvising with some vice grips, a pair of strange pliers that I acquired at an auction. Not quite sure what type of multi-tool this was supposed to be, but it is probably gonna work for what we're gonna need to do. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick the rivet into the hole, and then we're gonna try and use our vice grips and our pliers to be able to get it to seat in the hole. So with a little bit of struggle and decent body positioning, I was able to get the pin pulled on our plastic rivet and is nicely secured and in place. So our little bush fix kind of worked. It would be nice to have the actual tool that does this, and I think I might have to look into that for future projects. And also my inch-pound torque wrench starts at 30 inch-pounds, and they call for 18 inch-pounds, which is not a whole lot at all. So I'm just going to use my little 1/4 inch ratchet, and I think that should suffice. There we go. Now over here on the back side of our splash guard, we do have another boss here for another plastic rivet. This one does not have a hole. This is where your 1/4 inch drill bit comes in. So we're going to drill that hole and get that rivet in place. And there we go. We have our new rivet installed, and our little trick using the vice grips and the pliers did work this way as well. It's not the easiest way to do it, but you can get it done if you have to. So the next and final step of installing this splash guard is to grab a hold of our little protective red tape here. Just gonna pull that down, discard that, and then what you're gonna do is just apply steady pressure for probably about a minute or so, just to make sure that tape adheres. And there we go, our first front splash guard is installed. Drop in the comments, what do you guys think of the new look? So now, since we are doing the install on the driveway, and I couldn't help but notice at neighbor Mike's house, he has in his front yard a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
You got that right. Yee.
Let's say that 3 times fast. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Now you try it. All right, we have both front mud guards installed. Now, as you can see on a straight wheel shot, I was a little bit kind of holding back on getting these because I wasn't sure how they were going to look, being that they aren't gloss black like the flare is. But as you can see, like the underside of the front bumper has a similar look to now with the new mudguard, and it kind of makes it a little more symmetrical. So I'm actually really happy with the way it turned out. So now that our fronts are done, it's time to unbox the rears. Best unboxing knife ever. Now here's our rear mud guards. We do have the Ram logo embossed on the back, and I really do like that. That's something that you do get only with OE, so that's something to keep in mind if you are shopping the aftermarket. We do have 2 of those horrible plastic rivets to go in the back, which I was hoping we wouldn't see any more of these today, but there's only 2 for the rear, so we will get through it. They're not that bad, but they're not my favorite thing to install. But either way, let's get on with the installation of the rear. We're going to follow our instructions to the best that we can. It does call for the tool that I do not have for those rivets, which I, like I said, will be looking into. Our 8mm as well, and our 1/4 inch to drill our hole for our rivet. It calls to remove all 4 bolts in this back section here for your rear splash guard. So let's go ahead and get those removed. Now that our bolts are all removed, I'm going to use some of our isopropyl alcohol on this as well. You can use the supplied pads, but as I said before, they are very small and don't give you a whole lot of coverage area. If you do have your own bottle, you can get it for a couple of dollars from your local grocery store or pharmacy, and this stuff comes up big in many different types of projects. Always make sure that your rag is nice and clean. You don't end up scratching your flare. But I think we got her all nicely degreased, so it's time to install our brand new splash guard. Put this in place. All of our bolt holes do line up fairly well. You do have to push on it just a little bit to get that tight fitment. Sometimes you gotta wiggle these bolts around just a little bit to get them started, but just take your time, make sure they're not cross-threaded. And just check our fitment, make sure everything is fitting tightly. And we're ready to drill our hole up in the back here to get our plastic rivet installed. And one more thing that I did do on the side here is I did loosen off all 4 of these bolts after I put in the rivet and I put in the tape, just to kind of relax it a little bit, just so there's not a pressure on this tape over here, because you don't want to have this thing kind of pushing on the tape steadily. Eventually it's going to come off, and I want to be able to keep this nice and free of grime and debris and everything like that. So if that tape adheres nicely and doesn't have pressure pushing on it, it's going to last a lot longer. So now I tightened up all these bolts on the inside, and this side is complete. So now that we've got our driver's side pretty well loosely installed, we haven't done the 2-sided tape yet, I have drilled the hole for the rear rivet. We're going to stick our plastic rivet into our newly drilled hole. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my vice grip. I'm actually going to put it on the rivet and on the plastic piece. Not overly tight, just enough to hold it snug and in place. And then I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to pull on the pin. And the vice grip is actually going to hold everything in place. And there we go. So that's how you get a plastic rivet installed on the rear on a 2019 Ram if you do not have the proper tool. So now we're ready to complete this side of the vehicle, and this entire installation will be all done. And here it is, a first look at our finished product. You can see that the mud flaps actually kind of blend in with the whole truck. It seems like they're always there, which is kind of what I was going for. You do notice there is a little bit of a contrast between the matte finish of the splash guard and the gloss of the flare, but you do have the same kind of thing going on down here with these little guards that come from the factory. So everything kind of matches, everything is the way it's supposed to be with these installed, being that they are an OE product. I'm pretty sure that the ones that you would get from the aftermarket would fit rather similarly to these, but maybe you don't have to go with the rivets like the factory did, but I'm sure they had a reason for that. They are a bit of a pain to put on, but at the end of the day, we do have a factory fit and finish on this truck. So now there's only one thing left to do, and that's go see how well they work. All right, let's see how our new splash guards did. Now, normally when I drive down my road, I end up hitting that puddle and there's usually mud all over the side of the truck. So let's have a look. And would you look at that? There's absolutely no splash up the side of the truck at all. You can see right here how it got all the way up here on the splash guard, but it stuck out far enough that nothing actually even got on the door or anything like that. Let's go have a look at the rear. We do have the same thing going on in the inside fender well. You can see how much mud and everything is actually on the inside. But as for the outside, we got a clean bumper. This little bit here was actually on before we ended up putting on the splash guards. This is all dry, as you can see, but no new mud at all, so I'm very, very happy with this product. Well, everybody, that was our installation of our splash guards front and rear on our 2019 Ram Laramie Sport. This is the one with the fender flares. There is 2 different variations, so definitely check with your dealer when ordering these so you get the right one for your truck. But I'm very happy with the results and the performance of them so far. Hopefully they're gonna keep this truck nice and clean for years to come and damage-free from all those rocks and all that horrible stuff that ends up getting thrown up by your tires. You definitely wanna keep these trucks as clean as possible to keep them up in value, keep them looking nice, and definitely something that you want people to be turning their heads for years to come. So absolutely, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and as always, keep that hammer down.